Well, for whoever who thought that it's over with Man United in the transfer window after the deal of Baleba failed, never really falling through, you are jokers. The club of Manchester United is still initiating to see to it that they obviously get in one central midfielder who will complement Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, Bruno Fernandes, Kobe Mainoo, and Manuel Ugarte and Mason Mount into that midfield. And guess what? The name is out. It's Lucien Agoumé. That's the lad that everyone is really connecting us to as a club of Manchester United in these remaining few days of the summer transfer window. Smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Rock and David is my name, and hope you guys are really having fun wherever you are. And yesterday I never really came up, but I tell you what, a lot is on the line for the club of Manchester United to obviously come in through and really put in a very huge shift in there for you. And we are chasing in for this guy, and I know that there are huge chances that we can obviously get him in and see to it that he really gets United to where we deserve to be, especially to that midfield where we are really lacking. I tell you, we are lacking. I know some people, the problem with certain United fans is that they are carried away easily. When you watch the game of Arsenal, if really had a player like Lucien, I'm obviously going to tell you his attributes and what he brings to the club of Man United, I think it would have gone ahead to be a different story altogether into the business that we are really doing right now. I tell you, it would have gone ahead to be a different story altogether in the business that we are obviously doing. Because I want to let you know that games of football are won and lost in that midfield. You understand? Manchester United has longed to obviously have that CDM that we think is young and is obviously going to come out and really takes it to the highest level possible. You understand? And when I talk about those players, I'm talking about a player like Roy Keane when he came in through at Manchester United in his useful stage. You understand? When I talk about those players, I'm really talking about players like, we are talking about players like Michael Carrick when he came in through at Manchester United in his mid-20s. You understand? I'm not talking about Owen Hargreaves because he came in through when he was obviously trying. Was he in his mid-20s also? He came in through, I think, at the age of 26, right? That was not a bad age. You understand? But when you look at Lucien, Lucien is a French player. He's 1.8 meters tall, 23 years of age. He plays as a CDM and a box-to-box midfielder. And when you look at that system of Ruben Amorim, it needs an aggressive player who will obviously travel or cover huge distances, do the interceptions, press resistant, win Elliott duels. He obviously connect the midfield to the attack, shield the back four, and obviously do those long distributions. And one thing I've gone ahead to see about Lucien is the club, this player is a long-range passer of the ball. If you've been following him up for some time, he's a long-range passer of the ball. And those are the attributes that he really brings on the table as you see him. I've gone ahead to watch him sometimes about Sevilla, and it was linked to Arsenal. That's when I really started to follow him up, that Arsenal was interested in him. And that comes in through another bonus to we, the fans of Man United, that we are talking about a player. We are talking about a player who a team that was scouted by the club of Arsenal. That is it. He was one of those that they are looking to add into that midfield, by the way, before they obviously went ahead to bring in a player known as Zubimendi. And they've been scouting him out for some long time. And if at all you've gone ahead to see him play, he's really a special guy. His interceptions are really great. I like his energy. He runs like his heart is made of steel. His interceptions are really top notch. his game awareness, technical abilities, you understand, and his well-calculated passes in that midfield, and he is a warrior, he's a fighter, he doesn't fear any battle. The 50-50s, he wins lots of those, meaning that we are getting in a player who is obviously going to be winning in very many what are they called? Very many second balls that we don't really win a lot into our midfield as a club of Manchester United. So this is where I tell you that Manchester United, I think, are really doing something right. You remember what I told you about Baleba. I love Baleba, but I wouldn't like Baleba to come in throughout Manchester United this summer. I would love to see Baleba come to Manchester United next summer. That is it. You understand? Why? Let's get in Lucien. Because he's cheap, £35 million, no one is obviously going to be against him and obviously saying that he has come in for huge money. He has to perform immediately. You understand? He's going to come into a club, as a player who is worth £35 million, and no one will obviously look at him a lot because £35 million is the new £10 million in the modern transfer window. So get him in, no pressure on him. Let him really fit well into the club, because I know he'll fit well into the club. And after him fitting well into the club, he'll obviously get us the confidence and he'll grow into the team. And when you look at those performances that we put out against Arsenal, if you want to really protract those performances from that game of Arsenal to other games, you need this lad in, Put him there in that midfield, either with Casemiro, Ugarte, or Kobe Mainoo, name it, and you'll get the best of the United midfield. And by the way, him coming in through with his energy and shielding the back four, the likes of Bruno Fernandes, Mbeumo, and Matheus Cunha, which is obviously going to be the new midfield three for the club of Manchester United, will obviously have all the luxury to do what they want with the ball, because they'll be knowing that at least we have a destroyer behind us who will obviously come to the rescue if at all we lose this ball, and he'll cover up distances. And he's also a good ball carrier. And if you know Paul Scholes, what is the trademark of Paul Scholes? That trademark pass, the wide range passing, that's what makes him a very good player. Because if you remember, most of the attacks that we got when really beating us, and especially through the Mbeumo lane, it was all about us getting a ball through the midfield and obviously spreading it wide where Brand Mbeumo is. And with all what I'm seeing right now that this guy can offer on the field of play, I see Brand Mbeumo, Cunha, and Benjamin Sesko enjoying themselves to the fullest, because he not only puts in those passes in the out wide areas of the pitch, but he also puts in those passes through the central axis of the pitch. I've gone ahead to see him do that, and I know he'll complement that midfield very well. So we'll rather get in this guy, and save that money, by the way, because if you're going to spend £100 million plus onto Baleba, let's save it for another day, and let's get in the best of this young lad who very many big clubs are really scouting. Let's get him in for £35 million. That means we'll be having a balance of 65, whether we go in for goalkeeper or not. Let's hold that money for the January transfer window and see how things will obviously pan out for the January transfer window. If injuries happen, then we can obviously get in one or two players. All else, we save the best for the last. And what does that mean? We save this money for 2026 summer, and the beautiful thing is that the World Cup will be there and very many players will up for grabs for the club of Manchester United. And I think going in for Baleba for that will obviously take us to where we want him to be. So this lad played at Inter, and he played just 2 seasons there in 2020 and 2024. I think that's where he came in through. That's where his journey started. And he went to Sevilla. When they took him to Sevilla, a lot of things went ahead to change. In their 23 years of age, I think he ticks the boxes of everything that we want him to obviously become in here. Now, when you look at his senior career, he has been at Shocks, Inter Milan, Spezia, Brest, Troyes, that's where Brian Mbeumo was. But I think when he came in through, Brian Mbeumo had already left, and now Sevilla is where he went ahead, obviously put in some huge performances last season, where he went ahead to obviously play a good number of games. International career, he played for France under 16, under 17, under 18, under 20, and is currently playing for the French team of under 21. And he featured predominantly into that under 21 tournament that saw him really do the needful. Now, in the last season he played at Sevilla, he played 35 games, scored 1 goal and put in 3 assists as a CDM. I think that is really a worthwhile performance that will obviously see us really hailing this lad for what he has gone ahead to do, right? So that is all about a man known as Lucien Agoumé, and let's obviously get him on and see to it that all goes on well as planned. So that is it for the side of Agoumé in there for you, and we are obviously trying to push and see to it that we really get you more and more news. But United are really in for him, and I've obviously gone ahead to give you my thoughts about him. Now on Sunday we went ahead and obviously lost to Arsenal, and one of the most outshining players was Brian Mbeumo, and he took to his Instagram and posted, "Not the start we wanted, but we stay positive for the next game. Thank you for the huge support today from the start till the end. You deserved so much more today." That's what Brian Mbeumo went ahead to obviously put in there. Yeah, but I really hate such messages, you know. They're like consoling, you know. Let's take this in as a loss. You know, I know there are huge positives in there for you, but I've always told you, Man United has always gone ahead to perform like that when they're really playing against big teams, if you've been following them up to the fullest. But, right? But we are here to see to it that we bring in the best of the best, and the best is yet to come in here onto the onto Manchester United. So let's really forget about the game of Arsenal. I hate those posts in there for you. If I'm a United player and I lose, there is no reason for me to post, because I'm consoling myself. You know, I think the best thing we should be doing as players of Man United is simple. Don't post. You know, go ahead, train for the next game against Fulham. Let's go bang Fulham, and then we obviously celebrate. It's always better for us to celebrate wins, not losses. Losses shouldn't be posted, because for me, I see this as consolements. You understand? And I want to see United players not consoling themselves at any one point. I want them to come in through and really accept that, yes, we lost. And after us losing, what really went ahead to happen next? We really had nothing to do at the side of Manchester United. However much you put out a very beautiful display, that doesn't count anymore. In history, it will be up that United went ahead to obviously lose to Arsenal by 1-0. So let's fight for history. You know, that on the 18th or 17th of August 2025, United beat Arsenal. Not United went ahead, obviously put up a very beautiful showcase, and they lost to a club known as Arsenal. So I'm waiting for the game of Fulham, and I'm a big fan in there, and the rest will obviously come in through to see to it that all goes on well as planned. Rock and David is my name. I call upon for your reactions into the comment section below about United in for Lucien Agoumé. You know, new midfielder, and he's a Carlos Baleba alternative in there for you that United have gone ahead to scout. And I tell you what, he's a very good player. I can confirm to you, he's a very good player, and if we get him in, it's only a matter of time to see to it that our side really gets into the best of the best that we obviously hope from him as a player. So thank you very much for watching through. We sign out. See you later. Bye-bye.